Welcome, everybody, to the Kat Kanavos Show. I'm your host and co-author of the book, Dreams That Can Save Your Life, co-written with Dr. Larry Burke, and it became a #1 Amazon bestseller across the board. So thank you guys very much for making it an Amazon bestseller. So, why we dream is still one of the behavioral science's greatest unanswered questions. So why do we dream? Are our dreams just random images, that are just fired from our unconscious brain during sleep? Or is something much more important, like life-saving messages from another realm, perhaps even heaven? So on the Kat Kanavos Show, we explore dreams, dreaming, inner guidance, and much more. And we're going to do that again this evening. Our guest tonight is Layne Dalfen, and she is the co-author of Have a Great Dream. And it's all about decoding your dreams to discover your full potential. So welcome to the show, Layne.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
So, Layne, I went over all of your information, and I read part of your book because I got a few of the chapters, and I love it. We are definitely on the same page. So I want to get right into it and ask you, how can we use our dreams to problem solve?
Oh, okay. Well, what I do is I use 5 basic points of entry that I bet you use too. One is the feelings, just that dance about being inside the dream and outside the dream. How did you feel in the dream? I spoke to a man recently who was dreaming that his wife was cheating on him, and his response to my question, how did you feel, was betrayed. And then we come outside the dream, and I asked him, what do you think is going on in your life this week? A situation that's making you feel betrayed. And it was about a client that he had for the exact same amount of years that he was married to his wife. So there was the thread. And the client took his business somewhere else. And so he was feeling betrayed by the client, not by his wife. But
isn't that interesting?
Her as a metaphor, and they both had the connection to each other for 20 years. So it kind of works like that. It's sort of so amazing for me how it works like that. And sometimes I'll use, because my goal at the first is always to help the dreamer tell me via an interview method what situation in their life this week triggered that dream. Because once they tell me what the situation is that they're trying to problem solve in the discussion they were having with themselves, that is the dream. It's the discussion that you're having with yourself. And so once I know what the issue is, then we go back inside the dream, because I love looking for what a solution looks like when it comes in the form of a metaphor.
I love that. So, Layne, you're not just doing this off the top of your head. You've had like 45 years of deep background in dream study, and you studied Freud, you studied Jung, on and on and on. Tell us a little bit about where your information is coming through from that you are then validating with clients in your own dreams.
Right. Well, I got interested in studying Freud, Jung, Adler, and Pearl's my initiation. I'm 66 now, but when I was 21, I had a crisis in my life. And not so long after, I went into Freudian analysis. My first of 4 daughters, was born with Down syndrome just after my 21st birthday. And so my experience in Freudian analysis with a brilliant psychoanalyst out of New York was I wasn't so well able to articulate my feelings in my early 20s, but I'm a dreamer. And so he probably did about 80% of my psychoanalysis through dream interpretation. So my initiation to Freud happened because I experienced him long before I studied him. But I found in that experience in my life, that was where I really learned that the solution to something that's bothering you, of course, arrives in your unconscious before it gets to your conscious mind. And he was very big on solution finding, because lots of therapists, their focus is on uncovering why you had that dream, and that's where they stop. But I like to investigate, what does the solution look like when it comes in the form of a metaphor. And for example, the fellow who was, we did a feelings point of entry, who was feeling betrayed by the business client, in the dream, he's seeing his wife cheat on him and he's saying absolutely nothing. And my question to him was, if that would happen to you in waking life, would that be your response? Would you be standing there saying nothing? And he said, oh my God, of course I'd be speaking. I would be expressing myself 100%. And so the dream is encouraging him to speak with the client who took his business somewhere else. So sometimes I'm looking at a dreamer's lack of response in the dream, because sometimes that's what's encouraging them to look at their response in the dream and see if it's appropriate. And I say appropriate because for me, there's no good or bad. There's no right or wrong. There is, am I responding appropriately to today's situation? That's what I always want to know. Does it fit?
And so that kind of brings us to this client of yours was actually having a nightmare. I mean, dreaming that your wife is cheating on you is a bit of a nightmare. Now, I truly believe there are no bad dreams. And
oh my God.
It's okay. One of my Siamese cats is going to crawl up here in a minute, and you'll see his little face in the camera with the crossed eyes. So, I don't believe that there's such a thing as a bad dream or a nightmare. So, let's talk about that. Why is it that there is no such thing as a real nightmare?
Because for me, a nightmare, and it's so funny that you're bringing this up, because I'm have a time on global TV tomorrow morning, and the subject is nightmares. And I just before we got on the air was like writing up a few things, and a nightmare for me is the overreaction to your underreaction.
Oh, I love that. Overreaction to your underreaction. Perfect. Right.
Because I call this welcome to the human race, because we are in our conscious life, it's part of the human condition to lie, avoid, sweep, deny. This is part of being human. And that's why I call it welcome to the human race. But your unconscious never lies to you. So whatever it is that you're denying about your feelings or your situation in the daylight, your unconscious is going to overreact. And the overreaction is the nightmare. And so it does two wonderful things, actually. One is that it creates a balance, because there's something you're not looking at, and the dream is overlooking at it. And so you've created a balance, and hopefully the nightmare was scary enough that it succeeded in grabbing your attention, which is a sign of a really healthy unconscious, because it wants you to talk about it. It's like the dream is the discussion that you have with yourself about a specific issue that you're trying to problem solve. And as soon as you take the nightmare out into waking life, then it's called brainstorming, because you must be talking to somebody about it.
Absolutely. Everything that you said, Layne, is absolutely true. And the book that I wrote with Dr. Larry Burke is about the 30 plus people in that book who had horrific nightmares that they had cancer or a disease, or they were dying. In one story, this man is carrying his dead body and throws it off a cliff. because it doesn't work anymore. And it shocked him awake. It was a nightmare. Yet that nightmare saved his life and was validated by pathology reports. So everything you just said is absolutely true. It's so true.
He was inspired to go for help.
Exactly.
Inspired him. That's very interesting, because that's something else that I was also discussing with somebody this afternoon, about a woman who was an action point of entry, about a woman who woke up as she's jumping out of her chair, which is on fire. And that was her healthy unconscious giving her that push she needs to stop procrastinating.
Set your butt on fire.
Yeah.
Yes, set on fire right under you.
Moving forward, yes.
Yes, that's amazing. So, your book is beautiful. Can you hold it up for us? Do you have a copy by you, by any chance?
I cannot believe that.
Did you? You'd be amazed at how many people.
In another room.
It's in another room? Okay. Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful book. It is titled Have a Great Dream, Discovering Your Dreams, Decoding your dreams to discover your full potential.
And I'll just tell you that it's a double book set that I wrote. It's not a co-write. I wrote it by myself. The first book is called Have a Great Dream, Book 1, The Overview. And that's just a small book that teaches you how to do it. For those people that want to know right now, how do I do it? It's like 115 pages. And the second book is called Have a Great Dream, Book 2, A Deeper Discussion. And it gives you the opportunity to look deeper into the subject, which, of course, you've done. And it's miraculous, actually, how much our unconscious is capable of. Really miraculous. But if you go to haveagreatdream.com, you'll see the pictures of my books all over the place there.
Great. Because my next question to you, and again, you had that mental telepathy going on, was how can we find you? How can we get in touch with you? So give us give us your website or that contact information one more time.
The website is haveagreatdream.com. Okay. And when you go there, you'll find a wealth of information, and you'll see my books, no problem. And there's even a free dream course that you can sign up for, where I send 5 emails and 5 videos for 5 days in a row to give you a handle on how to uncover why you had that dream last night.
Oh, that's great. So the listeners and the watchers right now, so does this hold true for those people who will be watching this show later that aren't watching it live and maybe just listening?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. So those of you listening now and later, make sure you go to Layne's website and download that free gift. I love free gifts. So you were talking about you are going to be on a TV show tomorrow? Is that right?
I'm from Montreal, and I'm going to be...
You guys are cold.
Too cold. No kidding. Really aggravating, actually. This is why everybody in Montreal flies to Florida at some point, or Arizona.
Yeah.
But, so it's called Global TV, and I'm going to be on there tomorrow morning for an interview. Okay,
and is this something that our audience right now could tune into? Is there any way they could tune into them? This is an international show, so there may be some people in Canada watching.
You can go to globaltv.com, and it's just spelled global, Global, and I'm on tomorrow morning, and they'll have that up, and if you go to haveagreatdream.com and click on my Facebook, in a few days I'll have the global interview up there.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I want to thank you for being with us today. It's amazing. The time is already gone. So, Layne, you've got to come back, and we've got to do this again. So, for those of you watching live, you're watching the show now, but it is archived on the Kat Kanavos show. You can go there and download it, and this show will be turned into an article for Biz Catalyst 360, and it will be blogged on Pathos. And so those of you who would like to be a guest on my show, especially if you've done a dream book, hey, come on, we'd love to have you. Email me at katkan, KATKAN at Comcast.net, or you can go to my website, Layne Dalfen-author and send me a message that way. And remember, everybody dreams, but some dreams save lives. Thank you again, Layne, for being with us.
Thank you, Kat, so much. You're so sweet. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.